Hi there, Scorpio. I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your January 2026 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Scorpio water signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. What I do find though is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Scorpio signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Scorpio, let's jump in. I always like to just tune into the energies first before I start pulling cards. I definitely see many of you, moving into some kind of new chapter as I get the picture of you walking forwards. And to me, it looks like kind of mid to end January. I see like a spike of energy, which could be some kind of new opportunity or offer that might be coming in for you. For some of you, it might be, work related. It might be something that you've been putting your energy into, and that's when you're going to start seeing that coming back to you. And I do feel like, you're showing up in a new energy, you're moving forwards. But I keep feeling like there's something in the past. There's some kind of unfinished business. And it's so important, when we move forwards to, do our best to be, really in our integrity and in alignment with our truth. With your overall energies, we have the Magician. So this is the energy of pure potential. And, it's all about creating. A little reminder that, just as the Magician has all of those tools that he needs on the table, you also have everything you need to manifest what you want moving forwards. So a very, very potent energy of creation, manifesting. Very often the spark of, a new idea. What lies in your recent past, the Two of Cups. For many of you, I was feeling like there might be a connection in the past, which is what you are kind of still looking back at as you're moving forwards. And this may be where that unfinished business lays that I just keep feeling here. There's a sense of you kind of like cutting ties with, people, places, situations which do feel like they were really no longer serving you. Like it absolutely does feel like it was a moment to kind of move forwards in some way. But sometimes it's also about knowing, what do you take with you and what do you leave behind? Your current energies, we have the Star, a card of, hope, healing, renewal, some kind of, fresh start. And that may be, the way that you're showing up right now, because the Star is all about just being, authentic and not being afraid to be seen. I often find that it comes in as well when there is a need for us to sometimes understand, a higher perspective on a situation. It's all about ultimately, learning the soul lessons. and understanding, why we're having the experiences we're having, connections that we have with others. Because there's something or somebody in your past here which, has this soulmate energy to me. And, that can be career related. It can be, a job or a project which, is something that you've really put your heart into. It might relate to your purpose in some way. But for some of you, this may relate to a past connection, a powerful connection, a soulmate connection. Your feelings towards your situation, the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is always a gateway. I always see the wands on the card here as the actual gateway. And it's a gateway to something moving to the next level. Whether that is, a marriage commitment, moving in together. It's some kind of, milestone in your life. Often when things, particularly in relationships, start to break down, when there is a moment for, something to go to the next level, it's quite often a moment where, if there are any unresolved issues around, embracing love or long-term commitment for whatever reason, this is usually a moment when that comes up. In your challenge, we have the Chariot. And the Chariot is all about, I feel, getting back in the driving seat of your life. It's about navigating, the ups and downs of life, but really holding the reins and steering your life forwards. So there's something that is, with the Chariot, the Magician, this energy of moving forwards that I'm seeing, there's something which is just kind of blocking that moving forwards a little bit for you. Let's just look at your hidden influence. So the hidden influence is strength. Facing fears, insecurities, finding the courage to, really get through, whatever this is. It's all about facing those fears and insecurities. For some of you, this might be someone in your past. For others, this might be a new connection. And there is currently, or coming up, this might be what this spike in energy I see towards the end of the month is, an invitation for things to move to the next level. And whatever this is, this can also relate to work. Like I said at the beginning, there's always a shared theme, and that theme can show up in different areas of your life in slightly different ways. But there's some kind of invitation of moving something to the next level, some kind of upgrade. And that can be work related. It could be some kind of new opportunity that comes in for you, which is going to involve you showing up in a different way, allowing yourself to be seen. And that might be, what these fears and insecurities are. A little bit of a fear to be seen, to open up. And whether that is to perhaps honor some true feelings and express those. I do feel that there might be a little bit of control here, Scorpio, and especially with the Chariot in the challenge, there may be a little bit of holding on to control, wanting to perhaps hold on to your independence somehow. But a little bit of a caution there to make sure that that doesn't block you from, having that emotional stability, or having this Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is soulmate energy, and it's these kind of connections which are, deep mutual bonds. So whether this lies with, someone in the past or something in the past or a new person, I definitely feel, whatever it is, it has a huge potential for you. And I think it's very important to perhaps look at, what might be under, this energy of, holding on too tightly, holding on to control. That's stopping you from, perhaps fully opening up to whatever this new opportunity or offer is. Or whatever, it might be that there is a desire for some kind of renewal around. That could be a connection from the past, even for some of you. But the message is the same. There's an invitation for something more, something deeper here. And to embrace it, it may involve, facing some unhealed parts of yourself, letting go of control, and just having a little bit more trust here moving forwards. Because whatever this is, to me, it feels like something, very loving, very healthy. I do feel that ultimately there is a deep knowing inside of you that whether this is, a career or it relates to, love and relationships, it is something that is going to bring you that happiness and that fulfillment. You've just got to open up to it. Let's just get your advice from the universe. So we have the Six of Wands. Often a card of being recognized, acknowledged, especially for, the hard work you may have put into something. So that was also one of the things I was seeing there at the beginning for some of you, that there may be a project or something that you've been working on, that you've really been working hard at. I feel like it's been a while, and you've been really kind of putting your mind into that, your heart into that, putting your energy into it. And, this may be a moment where, all of that hard work starts to pay off for you, and you start to kind of reap the benefits of that. So it's definitely about looking at, how far you've come, how much you've accomplished, how much you've learnt. Even if that is, in terms of self-development for some of you, acknowledging, how far you've come. And just taking a moment to kind of celebrate that before you kind of continue moving forwards. Because I definitely feel, whether this is something from the past that, comes back up again for you, especially with that star, that's the energies of renewal, or whether it's a new opportunity. I do see that coming in for you towards the end of this month, and a big caution around, make sure that you're not getting in your own way here, because that's the energy that I pick up off the Chariot here, holding on too tightly. Really, it may be a moment to just take a leap of faith, let go, and just follow your heart on this one, because whatever it is with the Magician, there is a huge potential. So what lies in your outcome is the Queen of Wands. Very magnetic energy. That's you, Scorpio, standing in your power. And, this is fire energy. This is passion. And Queen of Wands energy, very magnetic energy. When the Queen of Wands walks into a room, everybody feels her presence. And of course, that can be male or female. But, this is really someone who follows their heart, follows their passion, very, very much in your power moving forwards. And let's just look at what lies beyond that. The Ace of Wands, a new beginning. Again, this is fire energy. And I feel some kind of new offer, new opportunity, new passion, whether that's something from the past returning, or a new person, or a new project. I feel all of that coming in for you, especially when you kind of own who you are and your truth. You move forwards from a place of integrity and, you know, really being in alignment with your truth, and follow your heart, follow that passion. And really the rest will follow for you. So you're on the right path, but just have a check-in. You know, just have a check-in and just make sure there isn't anything unresolved. There isn't anything left unspoken. Make sure you're not getting in your way of, you know, whatever the potential of this new beginning is for you. So I'm going to leave that there, Scorpio. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels best for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.